Well, welcome back to the Awakening Potential Show. It's your gateway to the extraordinary. I'm your host, Karen Rudolph, and I'm here to support you in stepping into your sassy confidence, your classy wisdom, and your bold, badassy brilliance. Because awakening your potential isn't just a moment, it's a movement. And here we dive into powerful stories, soul-stirring tools, and game-changing strategies that spark transformation in your life, in your work, and in the world around you. So grab a notebook, open your heart, and let's light that inner spark. Today, I'm beyond excited to introduce someone who truly embodies the journey, especially in the world of well-being. Our guest, Marbeth Dunn. Marbeth is a leading expert in somatic healing and intuitive energy mastery. For over 35 years, she's helped empaths, sensitives, and high achieving women release stress, anxiety, and trauma by reconnecting with their bodies and regulating their nervous systems. She's the author of Awaken the Healer Within. Overcome stress, anxiety, and illness. Marbeth was featured and mentored in as a mentor, excuse me, in the movie Bernie's Journey. I'll have to look that one. I haven't heard that one, but I'm excited to hear more about that in a moment. And as an expert in the upcoming films, The Frequency of Miracles, The Art of Manifestation, and The Frequency of Longevity. She has been featured on Fox, NBC, CBS, and the CW. I'm excited. Welcome, Marbeth,
Ooh,
to the
lots of welcomes. I'm so excited to be here with you, Karen. I love you and I love your energy. This is going to be fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. We met we because we're both co-authors in it was Essence of a Woman, if I'm not mistaken.
Essence of a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just met some amazing people, and you truly embody that for sure. And I'm really excited and so grateful that we did. And through our journey of talking, I was just fascinated with what you're doing. And before we get into all of what you're doing presently, I'd love to go back. Well, first off, for the listening audience, those who do not know what somatic healing is, you want to give a little brief something about that? So this way there'll be an understanding as we move into it.
Of course. Well, I actually did not know what somatic healing was, and I actually practice it. So, so yes, I'm very happy to. In fact, I learned about somatic healing writing my book about somatic healing, because before that, I had heard the word and it sounded interesting because I knew it related to the body, but I
Mm,
didn't realize that it was body-centered healing and actually using the body's wisdom to heal us. And the body is so wise and it loves us so much that when I discovered, oh, this is what I've been doing, it just it felt really wonderful.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. If you'll go back in time, like I always like to look at like what you play with as a child, and does it relate to what you're doing today?
What I played with, what really comes to mind was painting. I started painting spontaneously with oil paint at the age of 12. And I remember painting Cleopatra. That was my first artwork. And I just loved painting. I loved the texture of the paint and all. I probably assimilated a lot of toxic chemicals from using my fingers in the oil paint, but we didn't know. And I just love the texture. I love the feel. I love the colors. I loved everything about it. And moving forward, I became an artist and a painter. I lived in Haiti for 17 years as Marbeth of Haiti. I was a Haitian artist. And for those of you who are visual, I can show you my Haitian children's, whoops, where is it? There, my Haitian children's book.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. See, I
Yeah.
learn something new about you each time we get together. I love that.
Yeah. So art, yes. But art, put me into the zone, the zone of awareness, the zone of just being one with all that is. And just being in that zone was, I would say it was an incubator for me later to become an energy healer
Mhm.
because I was so present with what I was doing that when I'm so present, I can feel other people even over Zoom. When I tune in, I don't do it automatically. But when I do tune in, I can feel where people are holding their issues, and then I can help them release it.
Love it.
And that's the intuitive energy mastery part of what I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. So 12 years old, you start painting, and how did it lead you into the healing? I mean, obviously it started opening up for you at that point, but what did that look like for you, that part of the journey?
Um, that's an interesting question. The painting was basically my salvation because I had a lot of anxiety and stress. Especially, it started in college around exams where I would have panic attacks and I would feel tingles up and down my left arm and feel pain in the left side of my chest. And I knew I was having a heart attack. And of course, I was not. It was all panic
Right.
and anxiety. And then when I was living in Haiti isolated on a mountaintop without electric or city water, I
Wow.
had a lot of anxiety because there was trauma in my body that I was not aware of. And my body was trying to let me know, hey, we got to address this. But I didn't understand the language of my body. And so painting all day and late into the night using kerosene lanterns was the way that I kept the anxiety at bay. I painted till I was exhausted and then I could sleep. And so became, I learned about energy work. I learned about communicating with my subconscious because I needed to. It was really because I had to. I knew that there had to be a way that I thought that if I just got to the origin of what was bothering me, what was my body was trying to tell me. I had very bad asthma at the time. And I knew if I just got to the origin that I would miraculously heal. Well, that isn't exactly the way it worked. But first, I had to learn to communicate with my subconscious. And I didn't know how to, I didn't know you don't know what you don't know. I
Mhm.
mean, isn't that true? So I used a pendulum. I learned how to communicate with my subconscious with a pendulum.
Love it.
And, for the listeners who can't see it, I have on the end of a chain, I have a rose quartz point. But you can I've used cords with rings, I've used necklaces, anything that you can use. And what I learned, I actually found a book and it talked about communicating with your subconscious. And I learned so much about myself. And so I think and I've also switched that now into using muscle testing when I work with people or myself individually, or I work with people individually. I use muscle testing to tap into what's really going on with them. What is happening below the surface? What's their body telling me? Because I'll interpret it. But at that time, I didn't know. I didn't know that asthma was a lot of grief and sadness. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the anxiety was my body saying, hey, you've got trauma. Sort of I knew it, but I didn't know it. So the painting, again, on this mountaintop in Haiti, was a salvation, but it enabled me to spend more time with myself to explore and learn about different healing methodologies.
So why Haiti of all places?
Of all places, I think it was kismet because my husband, that is the technical term for the past husband,
Yes, yep, yep.
the husband. So he and I went off to buy a sailboat in Haiti. He had seen one in Coconut Grove here in Florida,
Uh-huh.
and somebody had sailed it from Haiti with, I don't know, 50, 100 refugees on board. And it was just a rough-hewn native boat with a pine mast. And the the owner of the boat said he'd bought it from the Haitian consulate for $2,500. The mast was gone, so he put a pine tree in. And it was just it just looked something that was could be a very interesting adventure. So we sold everything we had at the flea market, and we brought some navigation equipment and our dog, and we set off for Haiti. You should have seen us in the airport with a with with a flare gun.
I bet. We
And
have so much in common. It's like my husband and I had a sailboat as well here in Florida.
so we never bought the sailboat, but
Oh,
we
no.
did quite a few adventures seeking out trying to purchase one. We found out the one that we had wanted to buy or that we had seen was from the Turks and Caicos because the ones in Haiti were basically sail and bail. They were not very good or sturdy, whereas in the Turks and Caicos, they were British-made boats and they were sturdy. So, but that was a whole other story, and I'm digressing.
Yeah, but it's fascinating. It's fun. We, by and large, I'm just saying, we have a lot in common that I didn't even realize, you know. But we'll have lots to talk about next time we get together for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, what a fascinating journey though when you think about it, and yeah, and what a great way to emote, right? Because a lot of this is emoting those emotions and getting it out of our body because the body, I believe, is always talking. And if we don't listen, it just keeps coming back and slapping us harder and harder. And
Harder and harder.
really,
Yeah.
like, wake up.
And
So,
it's so interesting because talk therapy was the therapy
yeah,
until the 70s, although in the early 1900s, people were turning to yoga. And then there was Joseph Pilates, who developed his Pilates method. And these are all methods that integrate your body and your mind.
yes.
And Tai Chi, Qigong, these are
Yeah,
really important methods to bring you together, mind and body and spirit.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Couldn't agree more. I miss, like, because when I was living down in, I want to say I was living down in Weston at the time, I found a Tai Chi place there because I had done it further up here in Orlando when I was living in Orlando and I loved it. And now here in Sarasota, they closed the school. I haven't found any place to do it.
oh, well, I do Qigong online. We can talk about that because it's awesome. And I
Yeah.
think that would be really good for you.
Yeah, especially we it's good for all of us, you know. We all have our challenges, you know, and these are just good ways and means of definitely, as I said earlier, emoting it and expressing ourselves. Right now, I'm expressing myself through dance, and that's how I'll dance in my kitchen all the time.
That's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm always, the movement for me is what really, and it keeps me grounded, less stress as well. And, you know, so tell me about this Bernie's Journey movie. This is something I hadn't heard about. Is that recent? Is that something?
This was about maybe 12 years ago or so. We were in India and we brought along Bernie, who brought a film crew. She wanted to do a film. And so she basically went through a self-discovery there. And so I was one of her mentors in the film
How cool is that?
on the banks of the Ganges.
What an adventure you've lived. So I'm curious, out of all the adventures, like what was the one that jumped out at you the most? And, you know, I guess it would be a major accomplishment for you as well, or
Well,
several.
what really, it's not a, it is an adventure. It's more of an adventure in consciousness. And it was a huge jump in my healing adventure. I was on a discovery call with a gentleman in Germany, and this is about 15 years ago. And I, as a empath and an intuitive, and also as a coach and mentor, I was just doing a free strategy call with him. And I'm on the call with him, and I'm feeling this heaviness in my chest.
Mhm.
And so I realized this man is experiencing sadness and grief.
Mhm.
And just wrote it down on my notepad, and then it disappeared. And now I'm feeling knots in my gut, in my
Mhm.
solar plexus. So I wrote down that he's experiencing some relationship issues, some power issues in a relationship. And then that disappeared as soon as I wrote it down. And now I'm feeling a stabbing in my back. And it's like, whoa, he's feeling betrayed. So what was happening is his body was communicating with me across the Atlantic Ocean. And as soon as I noted what the indicator was that his body was trying to tell me, it vanished and another indicator came up. And, from the pain in the neck to the root chakra telling me about anger and rage. So I was getting a whole computer printout in my body, and this had never happened to me before. I was
Oh,
like, oh my God, this is what's going on with him. And he's transmitting it to me, and I'm able to decipher it. I mean, how amazing is that? It's like somebody communicating Morse code,
uh,
and you're receiving it. So, what was really interesting at that point, I wasn't sure how to proceed because I didn't realize that, I was having this active dialogue with with a body before.
uh,
And so it never took that form for me. I would feel other people's stuff. That's the technical term. But I didn't really recognize that I could grasp the whole the whole enchilada, shall we say. And
yeah,
so I asked his body, what do you want me to do here? And it told me. And I did it. And I felt everything go click, 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 right into place. And it was, oh my God,
that's
you
got to be so
know,
much fun.
that was amazing. So, yeah, that was the biggest adventure, I would say.
How cool is that? See, I love when things like that happen. I remember being in
Yeah.
South Africa and somebody had back issues, the same thing. And I just felt spirit called me, like, touch their back. And they were like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "I have no idea what I did, but I just followed what I was told." And I started playing in that realm and going, I got the touch.
You got the touch, lady.
But I didn't know what I feel like Harry Potter doing one of these numbers, like, what do I do with this one? I've got to learn. And it's for those of you who are listening who feel like you have something, a gift, right? I call that a gift. It takes
It is a
practice.
gift.
Yeah, it's just not, I don't know how it's been for you, Marbeth, but for me, it's like I really have to concentrate and focus in and really say, okay, what am I doing? I don't have to always know what I'm doing. All I know is it works. But
Well, for me, it's moving into being very, very present and moving into that zone that I believe I first accessed at 12 when I
yeah,
started painting.
love it.
And the interesting thing is now I don't paint. I don't feel it. I've moved into the realm of energy, working with source
Yeah.
and being guided. And I mean, I've been trained quite a bit in a lot of different techniques and modalities.
Right.
So but I don't, I have friends who practice, but they work by rote, and that is not me. I have to be I'm fully present with what's happening, and I get the information because like you, we have our magic senses, the witchy senses, as my cousin calls it. I'm clairsentient, clairvoyant to some degree, mostly also clairaudient, but mostly like claircognizant. So I just know, I just get the knowing. And then
That's
occasionally these other sensory experiences happen.
Yeah, for me, it's the knowing as well. It's the knowing as well. We have so much in common. I love it.
We do. We were
Not only
destined
do
to
we have
meet.
in common, but we also have the movie coming up that we are both in. For
Mhm.
me, it's the frequency of manifestation. For you, you're in frequency of miracles. I'm in frequency of healing as well. You're in frequency of longevity. They're all connected. It's all connected. I'm so excited about that. And I'm
I
excited.
know, I know, I know. It's wonderful. And I
Yeah.
love it because it gets the information out to more and more people, which is a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's part of my mission is just getting it out there. So, what's your body's superpower?
Oh, that's a great question. That's actually a training that I'm going to be doing. The body's superpower is that it can help heal you. The body is there and it has so many tricks up its sleeve. For example, breath work, something that we can do anywhere, anytime.
It's
As
breathing.
a Kundalini instructor, Kundalini yoga instructor, I've learned a lot of different breath work, and I've also been training in Kundalini breath work and not Kundalini, Qigong breath work.
Okay.
So there's so many different ways that we can maneuver energy in the body and release anxiety and stress. We can just shake it off like a doggy, who's wet, just start shaking. And just like Taylor Swift says, shake it off. We can just shake off that extra energy, that stress or anxiety. And, if you notice baseball players on the mound when baseball pitchers, when they're about to pitch, throw that ball, they'll start shaking. They shake off the energy first, and so that they can be clear and aim correctly. So that's really important. Also, we can ground ourselves. There's
Hmm.
so many different grounding techniques. As we were saying earlier, you dance. We
Yeah.
can go out in nature.
Yeah.
We can also use visualization. So, body has so many tricks up its sleeve. And then there's the emotional freedom technique, which I've been using for over 20 years.
Wow.
And I got to the master level in it, and it's very profound. And what I really love with so many of these different techniques, and there are more, many more, you don't have to really get into the story. The body's talking, and we just respond to it and help you just release it.
I love that. So, in essence, that's a way of releasing the stress, anxiety, and the illnesses normally by
Mhm.
listening to the body communicate. So, somebody who doesn't know how to necessarily listen to their body, they're feeling these aches and pains and the stress, and usually in the
Hmm.
shoulders and back and neck, and and they just keep on keeping on, or pop a pill, which to me,
Popping a pill, is effective in the moment. And I'm not saying don't do it. And I'm
yeah.
definitely not saying don't listen to your doctor. However, this is auxiliary, and you can use these techniques to release the stress and anxiety. And what's really interesting, our body speaks to us in many different ways. For example, you might be coming down with a cold or a flu, but is it really a cold or flu? For example, I was in Las Vegas with my family. We'd rented an Airbnb for about a week, and the last night I woke up and I knew I was coming down with something big. I could feel it in my chest. It was aching, and I was sniffling and sneezing. And I thought, oh, great. I hate to travel like this. I better dose myself with elderberry and hibiscus tea and all the other rigmarole that I do. And I stopped myself and I said, wait a minute, let me check in and see if this is physical. So I used muscle testing which is a technique that I demonstrate in my book, and I have a video to go along with it. Um, and my muscle testing told me that, oh, this is not physical. This is emotional. So I knew what to do. I
Yeah.
sat with the feeling in my chest. I went internal and I just hung out in that feeling, which was uncomfortable.
Sure.
But when you go into the feeling or the emotion, it starts to dissolve. It wants to be acknowledged. It wants you to know that, oh, okay, you got the information. You're here, you got the information. And then it just dissolved, which it did. And I went back to sleep and I was fine. So
Love it.
our body communicates, and it's really important to learn that language, to be able to communicate with your body. Because once you do, you're going to really grow in so many different ways. It's really quite wonderful.
So we learn the knowledge this way.
That's right.
You want to talk about your book for a little bit? But just as an aside, all of Marbeth's information, her contact information for those who are interested in learning more, will be in the show notes for sure. So, reach out with if I may, with any of your questions. This way we'll directly route you or answer a question for you. And please tell us a little more about
Tell you about what?
your book. Your book.
Oh, my book. So I
You're
started to
gonna
tell
talk
you,
about.
I chose this topic. Harrison and I, my long term fiance and I have decided that we were going to create a publishing company, which we did. It's called Instruct and Inspire, and his first book is Badass Bitches of History. 31 strong on defiant, unconventional women who changed the world. And it's really quite brilliant. My book I chose was on somatic healing. And so I wrote Awaken the Healer Within, Overcome Stress, Anxiety, and Illness. And I have a bonus chapter with 21 different somatic healing exercises that you can do to achieve so many different effects. Um, the most important theme, I guess, in my book is that it's so urgent for you to feel safe. Don't ever pursue something if you don't feel safe, because it can lead you down the wrong rabbit hole. I was very strong-minded. I decided that I mentioned earlier, I was going to determine what was causing my asthma, and I was going to find the origin of that. And every time I went there, I would get severe asthma attacks because I didn't know that I needed to check in and make sure that I was safe before I did that. But, a little bullheaded, it took a while, but I have learned that lesson. It's really
Right.
important that you check in before you pursue different rabbit holes. And um, once you do, and there's so many ways that you are safe, but I think it's really important to know and trust your body. It will tell you if you are not. So my body will tell me actually it's clear sentient. And if I'm going someplace and it's not safe energetically or whatever for me, my body will let me know. And I can then take whatever measures I need to protect myself or not go there. As an empath, I also have a section about being an empath and how to protect yourself from other people's energies.
Wow.
Again, it's always about being safe, because I
Mhm.
think that's a really important message. Um, they're very, very often, I've been to events and I've had clients who have gone to events where there's a lot of energetic clearing, people releasing a lot of emotion or whatever. But the people who had the events may not have known. But there are ways to release the energy in the room, and so that people don't absorb it. Other people don't absorb it when it's being released. But I had a client who came to me. She had gone to an event and everybody was releasing energy. And ever since then, she was experiencing some weird symptoms. And I just tapped in and helped her release them because she was had picked up other people's energy. Once we
Wow.
released it, she was fine. No
Yeah.
more symptoms.
Beautiful. I love that. Um, so I have a question for you there.
Sure.
Again, all your contact information, the book and everything is going to be there. What's the pivotal moment that awakened your potential personally?
Okay. So I was in Haiti, and I remember I had been seeking and searching and reading so many different books, and including A Course in Miracles. Now, you don't have to believe it in order, and I didn't even understand it when I was reading it. But one thing sunk in to me, and I woke up one morning and I realized that my thoughts had power and that I could change my thoughts and my life would change. Nowadays, we hear that quite often, but back then, this was something I had never heard before, and I didn't understand it until then. I thought that my thoughts were written in stone. I thought that I was stuck with the hand that I'd been dealt. This
Right.
was huge. It totally changed my life. And I also, at that point, developed a really strong connection with Source. And I won't say the universe because it's bigger than the universe. Everybody talks about the universe. No, this is source energy and spirit. And having that connection is really what changed my life and moved me past fear and into a place where I was riding spirit's coattails. I just miracles were happening all around me. It was really, really incredible.
That is incredible. I love that. I love that. We have quite a similar path. I always ask this question of my guests is what is the one pearl of wisdom that not only do you live by, that you can share with the listening audience that will potentially awaken their potential as well?
Well, this is also from A Course in Miracles, and it's very powerful. But when you recognize that you're not a body, that you are so much greater than a body, that you are pure awareness, pure consciousness, and you are one with Source, that
Exactly.
makes you incredibly powerful. So there's a refrain that goes through the Course in Miracles, and it's, I'm not a body, I am free. I am still as God created me. So we are one with source energy. We are so much bigger than our bodies, and we are eternal beings, and we are love. Isn't that amazing?
I love that. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. So again, all of your contact information is going to be in the show notes, but you have a gift for our listening audience. You want to tell us about that? And
Ooh,
that'll be
almost forgot.
those things.
Okay, well, if you go to my website, marbethdunn.com,
Mhm.
and you will see I have an ebook, and it's 5 somatic secrets to overcoming stress, anxiety, and illness naturally. And it's a combination gift along with a short meditation. I think it's around 5 or 7 minutes, and it's mindfulness. I think it's mindfulness made easy. And so you can get that free gift right on my website, and it's
Beautiful.
marbethdunn.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Before we part, and I'll have to have you back for sure, because I know we have so much more to talk about.
Oh, I think we do.
I know we do. I know we do, girlfriend. Before we part, is there anything that you'd like to leave the listening audience with?
I'm going to say I had a wonderful time today, and we do definitely have a lot in common. I'm going to say reach out and trust your body. Give yourself a hug today,
There you go.
because when you hug yourself, you're letting yourself know, I love you. Hmm. Hmm. Excuse me. Hmm. So you're letting your body know, I love you.
Yeah.
So let's hug ourselves and say, I love you. And you can even do it in front of a mirror. It's even more powerful.
Yeah, I had an experience, I'll have to share it with you sometime, where I actually painted it.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was one of those, I didn't know how to love myself back then. And it's actually hanging in my bathroom. So,
that's perfect, actually.
yeah, that was like a whole body feeling experience where I grabbed my inner child and said, come on, we're doing this together. And I was able from that point on to say, I love myself. My spiritual mentor will tell me, tell yourself in front of a mirror, tell yourself you love yourself 5,000 times a day. And I remember saying to her, but Reverend Alma, it's 5,000 times a day is a lot, and she's like 2 hours and 28 minutes. And my eyes must have gotten a bit real like,
Wow.
you're not supposed to do it straight. It's throughout the day. And when I started doing it, it was like, I love myself, I love one of
You
those
can't
things.
look in your eyes because
I
at that point,
would,
but at that point, you can say, I'm willing to love myself
and
because that cushions it. And
that,
and because if you try to do something, again, safety,
yeah,
and if you try to tell yourself, I love myself, and it's not congruent, you're going to start experiencing resistance. So you can
exactly,
build up to it. I'm willing to love myself. And
exactly,
that could feel good. So you stick with what feels doable, and then you can expand it into the I love myself.
exactly. And that's exactly what I did. And then once I did that, it was like, now I'm in front of the mirror going, I love me. I love myself. I love myself.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
would play with it. Sometimes it's corny, but let me tell you, and not but, and it really truly supported shifting that energy for me and learning to really truly love me because nobody's going to love us like us. So,
Well, we really need to treat ourselves like we would our very dear friends. So often we beat ourselves up, we criticize, we really treat ourselves terribly. We
yeah,
wouldn't treat a dog that way.
no, absolutely.
Probably love on the dog, right? Or our friend.
Marbeth, thank you so much. I can go on and we'll definitely have you back for sure. But thank you so much for being here, taking your time and the energy to be here with us all today, and for sharing your journey and insights with us. It's been absolutely amazing. And it's a beautiful reminder. Your story is a beautiful reminder of transformation begins the moment we become aware and, connect with those brave, I like to say those brave, badassy steps that we choose along the way to take. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I can't wait to hug you.
I know.
Next week when we're together.
Wednesday.
I know, right? So for our listening audience, we'll stop being mushy for you for the moment, but for the listening audience, remember the bridge from ordinary to extraordinary is built with small steps of change and big leaps of faith. You are more powerful than you know, so keep showing up, keep rising and awakening your potential. If today's episode sparks something inside of you, let's connect. DM me the word awaken. You get me personally. You don't get my team or anything like that. You get me answering any of your questions. I'm happy to do that and be there for you. So until next time, thank you much for listening in. Share it with your friends, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.